Salutations, fellow adventurers! Today, as the title suggests, we will be talking about some of my favorite NPCs from 2024. These will all be coming from the 3 campaigns I was lucky enough to be a part of during 2024. Non-player characters. Whether they're allies, villains, or mysterious strangers, they are the lifeblood of any campaign. They give a world its personality, create unforgettable moments, and sometimes even steal the spotlight from the actual players. Character building is my favorite aspect of world building, and I'm always looking for new NPC traits that will award me inspiration. I'm Cora Poe, and this is Slumber Myth, a place for insomnia fuel. To begin our little side quest, let us lay out some key traits and highlight some of the campaigns that I'll be taking from. We will have a look-see at the most compelling, lovable, hateable, and hilarious characters that I've experienced during our gameplay in 2024. We'll explore who they were, what they stood for, and why they stood out in our games. And who is we, you may ask? Why, my little D&D family, of course. I have the immense privilege of playing twice a week with a group of fellow queer people with feminine natures. Our sessions have always been such a safe, fun, and wildly creative place to be. All thanks to a creatively inclined person I've already introduced to you on this channel. Noelle Mills, the author of Shadow Haunting, featured in Beyond the Pages, a series that's available in my coagulation playlist. I'll link the video in the cards. She is the amazing GM of 2 homebrewed campaigns, and they both take place on Trelara, her own homebrewed world. We'll jump into her campaigns and my favorite NPCs within them first. And away we go! The first campaign I'll be pulling NPCs from was the very first campaign for my whole D&D group, which was so beautiful because we could really take our time to learn without fear of making anyone who is more experienced impatient. Noelle's first campaign was called A Sinister Seance, and it took place in a super spooky mansion on Samhain, or for those who are unfamiliar with pagan terms, All Hallows Eve. It was a delightful murder mystery with a whole slew of original NPCs. So let's dive into the first non-playable character. Derek is an all-around player favorite because he is a narcoleptic vampire with a penchant for falling asleep in really inconvenient places and waking up in even worse ones. A pirate and a fighter, he uses his trusty crowbar instead of a sword. Noelle wrote Derek to be a kind-hearted and comical character, and every time we get to experience a role-playing scene with him, we all have such a good time. The next NPC on this list is another character from Sinister Seance, and his name is Orion Darcy. Made a shapeshifter and a vampire by his love Zenit, Orion is pleased to be back among the living. Zenit is my very first ever Dungeons & Dragons PC, and she is a 642-year-old vampire, homebrewed naturally. He was a ghost, cursed to watch his love, Zenit the vampire, waste her eternity on self-harmful promiscuity and nonsense, avoiding the grief of his loss. But he was finally brought back, some 300 odd years later. You see, Zenit was attending a very odd, very eventful Samhain party. Zenit attended this party with a group of strange, lovely ladies she had recently befriended, or however close to friendship she was capable of at that time. Without these women, she never would have been able to get Orion's soul into the body of the shapeshifter that was the campaign's villain. There was something Noelle did with Orion as an NPC while he was still an NPC that involved my husband. In secret cahoots, she got my husband, Ryan, to record a message as Orion Darcy. It was a complete surprise, and I was totally moved. I cried like a baby, and I have that recording right here.
I will always be with you. I will wait for you all eternity, until the sun dies and only the moon and the stars remain. I love you, my moonlight.
I loved how she took our gameplay on Roll20 and made it something so much more visceral and personal by adding this little surprise into it. And I had to share it talking about NPCs because it's something that inspires me to continue to go above and beyond with my character building and think of different ways to make it more fun and visceral for the players. Next NPC from Noelle's first campaign is Pip. Pip is a fog ferret, a little buddy to who Zenith claims is her very best friend, Iris, an elf ranger. Pip is a fog ferret that is probably the most adorable voice that Noelle is capable of. Every time we use Pip for anything, because he's invisible and has extremely keen senses and is small and can get in small spaces, anytime we summon him, even though technically our players can't see him, we love Pip so much and we all treasure him. He's like our group baby. He's our mascot and we love him so much. I couldn't even begin to attempt the voice that Noelle does for him, but he's just so adorable, and every time he makes an appearance, it really enriches the game. Fun little creatures and pets in gameplay, I think, are such a great way to make things a little more interesting, add more personality to the campaign itself at large, and also, I mean, who doesn't love animals and creatures? Everyone in our group is a massive animal lover, so having creatures and pets available to us as players that go beyond just combat events has made the whole game so much more fun and really led to our players being closer in real life and our characters during gameplay caring for one another as well, because we all bond over the animals. Beyond being precious as hell, Pip the Fog Ferret is extremely useful to everyone because he has a +5 to his AC while invisible and can turn invisible at will. He's super small and with his little wiggly ferret body can get into super tiny places. He goes almost completely undetected every time, so he can do recon for us and we trust that he'll be safe. While he does only have 5 HP points, he is mostly invisible and kind of made of mist, so he's fine. Plus, just in case, he does have 1 melee action. It's a bite, with +5 to hit and 1 point of piercing damage. Moving on to Noelle's number 2 campaign. Her second and current campaign also takes place on her homebrew world of Trilara, with all of our same characters and then some. Personally, with Orion coming back to life at the end of our first campaign, he and Zenith are now together and I play them both. We all graduated to playing 2 characters for the second campaign and it's been so much fun. Campaign number 2 is called Journey to the Edge of the Map. And you best believe we are all pirates now. There's even an amazing cat on board the ship named Maisie. By the end of Sinister Seance, we all acquired our own moss kitten. Zenith's is named Baby Bok Choy. The ship cat Maisie looks after all of them while we're off adventuring. Maisie is the resident mouse catcher and companion to the ship's cook, Jackson. So that leads directly into my first favorite NPC from Journey to the Edge of the Map, and that is Maisie the cat. She watches after the moss kittens and often has role-playing scenes teaching them how to do cat things. It's stupid adorable. The role-playing Noelle does for her is so fun and sweet. Next up, Jedediah Greenwood. Jed is a jack of many trades, a fix-it man. His personality is kind of bothered but kind, and I personally find him a little bit sketchy. But what makes this NPC for me, once again, is Noelle's role-playing of him. She pulls out this incredibly unique accent that's a cross between deep Creole and the foggy swamp waterbenders from Avatar: The Last Airbender. It brings so much depth to his personality and truly it just sounds hilarious. And most of all, I think it really speaks to her capabilities in voice acting. The next campaign we're moving into is my very first ever as GM. It was a one-shot intended to help me test the waters as a DM, and naturally it turned into a 2-shot. It was called Mayor Maisie's Moss Kitten Rescue. It takes place on my homebrewed world of Xyz, which I will have a separate introductory video on later, to share inspiration to anyone else who is building their own worlds from scratch. In the 2-shot, a wormhole to a parallel universe transports all the moss kittens to the universe of Xyz, and on it, to a town where all the animals are magically endowed with sapience by Oberon himself. I tasked my group with saving the moss kittens from an evil wizard in a neighboring city. And who assigned the wizards this mission to save the kittens? Why, Mayor Maisie, of course. The parallel universe's anthropomorphic version of Maisie the cat. From Noelle's campaign. I'll have a more in-depth video on my one-shot in the future as well. Making my first one-shot, there are a few NPCs I truly fell in love with. And the first, I think, still takes first place. His name was Keeper. Keeper is an absolute smoke show who makes being a know-it-all look good. He treats everyone with respect and kindness, and he acts truly passionate about showing others the magic and beauty of the realm. But don't piss him off, or he will bop you right on the head with his hiking stick. In my one-shot, he was the guide for the heroes on their quest to save the moss kittens. But in the end, that hiking stick turned out to be a staff of power, and he was a fae, disguised as a sexy tiefling man. But when he turned on the PCs to take the moss kittens from them for his own weird fae morals reasons, he changed into his true form, a beautiful kitsune, aka a nine-tailed fox. For role-playing, I based his voice on an effeminate, received pronunciation version of Mark Hamill's Joker from Batman the Animated Series, which obviously is the best one, best Joker ever, period. Role-playing Keeper was so much fun, and I was so proud to have successfully tricked all of my PCs for the whole game. Next NPC is also from Mayor Maisie's Moss Kitten Rescue. His name is Dreddard Troom. Thought to be dead like the rest of his family, Dreddard Troom has been surviving in the woods ever since the tragic destruction of his burrow at the hands of Charbage mercenaries. Charbage being the neighboring city where the evil wizard had taken the moss kittens. Dreddard mourns his only child, Arlen, whose life was long lost along with everyone else he ever knew or loved. He is a warm-hearted, gruff old man. In the end, upon the success of my PC's quest, the whole city of Yukari, the one of anthropomorphized animals, celebrates the heroes. And out from the crowd emerges Dreddard. One of my players was playing his son, Arlen. And I am proud to admit that their reunion was completely unexpected and totally made her cry. So proud of that moment. Up next from my one-shot on Xyz is Rolene. Rolene is a drunkard. She's a regular customer of the tavern within the Good Neighbor Inn, the place where my characters met up with and eventually had their showdown with Keeper. Demanding, loud, and very fluffy, she is a widowed, middle-aged tabaxi that is blowing her late wife's life insurance policy on expensive porcelain figurines and mead. Her voice is that of a 70-year-old Brooklyn native and smoker. She is rude and mean and so much fun. The third and final campaign that I'm pulling NPCs from is my very first ongoing campaign, Vengeance of Vora. Vora is the name of one of the countries on Xyz, and I GM for 2 of my fellow players from my D&D group. I will also have a video on Vengeance of Vora out soon. On my homebrewed world of Xyz, any species is capable of mating with another. This has given me so much freedom in the creation of characters. My first favorite, admittedly, is a species that I have borrowed from Critical Role, an Unya, which is half orc, half elf. His name is Ogden Spiver. He's a down-on-his-luck Unya from the Nightville district of Moonpool. He's a refugee, trying to make his way after losing his home and his business as a blacksmith. Sometimes he has to take less than ethical jobs to keep food in his belly and a roof over his head. He is quiet and angsty, but underneath it, he just has a big old teddy bear heart. Ogden is a fighter warlock that uses his impressive warhammer to best his enemies. He's infused his fire magic into the hammer, often making it glow with the same warm red-orange of his beloved blacksmithing tools. Though reluctant at first, he already has really good rapport with my PCs, and I can't wait, especially with one, to see how their relationship blossoms. Next up is Oriya. She's the owner of the Diamond District bookshop, which is called Oriya's Grimoires for the Learned. As you can see, she is a fine as hell barn owl Aarakocra, and I love her. She's not super developed, but the art just turned out so great for her, and yeah, she's really pretentious and smart, and I love her. Simple as that. Now, the last one I'll speak of is Alina. Alina is a fawn, just like her wife, Toriana, and their daughter, Aster. I love Alina because she is warm and generous, prideful and boastful, and gay as fuck. By nature, she is an oracle, and by trade, just like her wife and daughter, is a Nyx fleece ram wool rancher. She lives with her family atop a snowing mountain in a cabin. I love her personality, abilities, and the little family and life I've created for her. Those are just a few of very many NPCs that have left a lasting impression with me or conjured favoritism in the few campaigns I've been lucky enough to be a part of so far in my D&D life. They've made me laugh until I cried, broken my heart, and showed me how much fun it is to play the villain. But that's what makes Dungeons & Dragons so magical. The connections we make as we become our characters, and the stories we tell together. Now, I want to hear from you. Who are your favorite NPCs from your own campaigns? Drop their names and bios or whatever in the comments. I'd love to read about them and hopefully get inspiration from them. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on an adventure. Till next time, I hope you roll all natural 20s and that your stories become legend. Godspeed, fellow traveler.